It's very interesting that Hungary has been so anti-Ukraine, that Hungary has been so anti-Ukraine that it has even, I would say, undermined its own arguments that it has been using against Ukraine. And that argument, that chief argument that Hungary has been leveraging against Ukraine has been the treatment of the Hungarian speakers, of the Hungarians living in Ukraine. And it seems that in one of its latest moves, Hungary has completely thrown that argument to the wind when a commander of Hungarian origin has attacked a Russian refinery. I think it's a refinery that has been attacked. And as a response, Hungary has issued a ban for that Hungarian person to enter the country. And Poland delegation has received them instead. But the whole hypocrisy of saying, we care about Hungarians in Ukraine, and then choosing loyalty to Moscow over a Hungarian that is fighting on the side of Ukraine. I think you can see the hypocrisy in that, right? I think that undermines the whole argument of Viktor Orban caring so much about the Hungarians in Ukraine. And we have a whole thing about that as well. There you go. Hungary slaps entry ban on Ukrainian commander over Russia pipeline attack. So we're gonna watch a video. We're gonna watch a video on that little event. What do you think? Isn't that interesting? Isn't that cool? For show? Well then watch this.
Hungary has banned the Ukrainian commander behind the Druzhba pipeline attack from entering the country and the Schengen area.
This was an attack on Hungary's sovereignty, endangering our energy security and nearly forcing the use of our strategic reserves. Ukraine knows very well that the Druzhba pipeline is vital for Hungary's and Slovakia's energy supply. Anyone who attacks our energy security and sovereignty must expect consequences.
In his statement, the Hungarian foreign minister did not disclose the commander's name, but it was later confirmed to be Robert Provdi, a Hungarian-born officer who leads Ukraine's unnamed systems forces and is better known by his call sign Magyar, which means Hungarian in the Hungarian language.
I am Ukrainian and I will arrive in my father's homeland after you. There are plenty of real Hungarians in Hungary.
The conflict began after...
There you go. See? This is very interesting. I find this very interesting. I find it very interesting that Hungary... There are many aspects to this story, by the way. One is that Hungary and Slovakia remain their energy dependence on Russia. But the other aspect is the fact that I'm not really sure if the European Union has prepared viable alternatives for energy for countries such as Slovakia or Hungary. This is a whole other discussion to be had, which I'm not sure I am actually equipped to have. But there is also the aspect of Hungary weaponizing Hungarians against Ukraine. And now in a very bizarre move, Hungary banning a Hungarian from entering Hungary over this attack.
Recent attack on Russia's Druzhba oil pipeline in the Bryansk region. Pipeline supplies more than half of Budapest's oil imports, leaving Hungary heavily dependent on Russia. Its operations were halted for 5 days. Following the attack, the Hungarian government issued many threats against the Ukrainian authorities.
See, there you go. Hungary has been openly hostile to Ukraine from the very beginning of the war.
This is the only member state in the EU opposing or criticizing actions which are serving the interests of Ukraine, supported by the West, and Hungary is taking the side of Russia.
President Zelensky...
I mean, there's also Slovakia, arguably. Arguably, Hungary right now is not the only country that does that. Slovakia also is very much pro-Russia. He does. You'd be surprised how he used to look in the past. I watched some of his older speeches and I was pretty shocked by how he used to look versus how he looks now.
The decision, calling on the foreign ministry to respond to the Hungarian government.
Every day we hear new accusations against Ukraine coming from Hungary. Hungarian officials have gone so far as to attempt to discriminate against members of the Hungarian community in Ukraine for the participation in the defense of our state and our people.
Yeah, this is very interesting. I find this very interesting that so far Hungary has Orban in particular has used the Hungarian in Ukraine card so much, but right now this card has somewhat turned against Hungary, since all the Hungarians that are actually participating in the war actively are being discriminated against by said Hungary.
While Ukrainian Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha vowed to respond, arguing the country would take mirror action against Hungary.
Peter, if the Russian pipeline is more important to you than the Ukrainian children killed by Russia this morning, this is a moral decay. Hungary is on the wrong side of history.
It is. There is something to be said about Hungary's energy security, but that is not the way to go about it. This is definitely not the way to go about it, to suddenly become this ally of Russia, to do not seek any alternatives, energy alternatives, do not even discuss the matter with the European Union to seek some form of agreement by which Hungary could remain its energy security. I just don't feel this is the way to go about it. But then again, Hungary already is not a healthy democracy. It is not a country that is operating in a very optimal way, considering that the person that is in charge is, as I described, a person that perpetuates an oligarchical system in which a number of clients validate his rule through him showering them with funds, opportunities, prestige, and power.
Budapest's latest decision has further escalated the already tense relations between the two countries, as Hungary's continued purchases of Russian gas fuel Moscow's war machine.
We are dealing with political corruption. One could even call it geopolitical corruption.
Of course, by the way, there is no question, there is no denying that Hungary is, I think, one of the, if not the most corrupt country in the European Union currently.
Since Russia gains Orban, an influential agent within the European Union and NATO, who consistently advances Russian interests in exchange for cheap oil, the construction of a nuclear power plant in Hungary, and many other benefits.
This report for TVP World, Anastasia Yanchenko.
All right. And of course, there's a whole other topic that the European Union in the past has indeed enabled Orban. But there you go. Polish Foreign Minister invites Ukraine's brave ethnic Hungarian military commander barred by Budapest. An ethnic Hungarian commander of a Ukrainian drone unit, whom Hungary barred over a strike on key oil pipeline, has been invited to Poland instead by Foreign Minister Radosław Sikorski. While Russian missiles rain death on Kyiv, Hungary bans a brave ethnic Hungarian who dares to fight for Ukraine's freedom. Commander Magyar, if you need some R&R and Hungary won't let you in, please be our guest in Poland. Sikorski described Robert Magyar Brovdi as a brave ethnic Hungarian who dares to fight for Ukraine's freedom. Sikorski's post on X came on the same day a defiant Brovdi told Hungary's foreign minister Peter Szijjártó, shove your sanctions and restrictions on visiting Hungary up your ass. In other words, I don't really give a fuck that you banned me from Hungary. I don't regret what I've done. Brovdi has reportedly been banned for 3 years from entering the Schengen area, which allows passport-free movement between many European countries. Brovdi's repulse was in reaction to Szijjártó's declaring on Thursday that the attack on the Druzhba pipeline was an attack on Hungary's sovereignty and endangered the country's energy security. Ukraine knows very well that the Druzhba pipeline is vital for Hungary's and Slovakia's energy supply. This is the statement. We've already read it. Hungary and Slovakia, whose governments are openly pro-Moscow, are highly dependent on Russian energy and have continued to import hydrocarbons despite EU efforts to cut off Russia's energy income from the bloc. Both countries have also consistently opposed EU support for Kyiv and opposed sanctions against Russia. Ukraine has a significant Hungarian minority population, including around 100,000 in the Transcarpathian region in western Ukraine, where Brovdy is from. So, as you can see, there's a lot of interesting topics baked into this. Energy security, how it's addressed, how the country is facing their security, their energy security, address these problems, conflict of interest within the European Union, lack of unity within the European Union, because let's be frank, this sort of thing absolutely causes a lack of unity within the European Union. Hypocrisy when it comes to seemingly caring about minorities in other countries, while when you don't like what those minorities do, turning against them immediately.